Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamischa Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desatarine नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम परायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So I'm fortunate to be again with all of you in this Sangha. Seek all of your blessings and prayers so that I can speak something glorifying the words coming from Lord Sri Krishna in the from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18. Hare Krishna. So so in this chapter, the this is the conclusion of the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and this is one of the beautiful chapters what we have in Bhagavad Gita. So if we go through this chapter, it's amazing. Amazingly, it is describing about all the summary of complete Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is like really, really very wonderful, because it speaks on all the different aspects what Krishna has spoken in different chapters. So, S.B. Keshav Maharaj in his book Gita Life, he writes about this chapter, and he gives the acronym for this chapter, summarizing this chapter in the summarizing this chapter by giving the word smile. Smile, SMILE. So smile stands for like S. He has categorized this complete chapter with the word smile, and a different section of the this chapter are divided in this way. First is the summary of Karma Yoga. When Arjuna asked the first question in the first chapter, in this first verse of this chapter, he asked about renunciation and tyag. What is difference? What is difference between sannyas and tyag? And this is where he Krishna starts answering all the different questions of Arjuna. And after explaining about the Karma Yoga, Krishna speaks about the modes of nature. So M stands for modes of nature, and I stands for ideal worker. Who is an ideal worker? And then L stands for love of Godhead. How to achieve love of Godhead? That is from section 55 to 66. And then the last E stands for end result. What will be the end result? Krishna is declaring the end result before the war has begun. And this is where he gives, when anyone who hears and follows the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, what will be the end result for him. So this is very wonderfully explained in this acronym of SMILE. SMILE is like S stands for summary of Karma Yoga, M stands for mode of nature, different activities in different modes of nature, and what are there. And I stands for ideal worker, L stands for love of God, and E stands for end result. So if we see this to be the conclusion of the chapter, the summary of the chapter according to S.B. Keshav Maharaj, very beautifully presented in the book Smile. In Bhagavad Gita, it's very, very interesting, that how this chapter unfolds, or how each chapter actually unfolds is very, very beautiful. In according to the thematic presentation, this chapter has got a lot of divisions. It is not just the five divisions what SBK Keshav Maharaj has given in his book. That is like the acronym, and he divided the complete thing according to what is been presented. But in Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter, if we go through the list, there are around um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 divisions of this chapter, where each has a different theme, each has a different meaning. And I can actually share this screen with all of you. It becomes easy.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य, जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य।
Yeah. So this is the divisions of this chapter: acting with detachment, and renunciation and being brings freedom from reaction. The conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta philosophy, the entanglement of three modes, worshipping the Lord through one's occupational work is true renunciation. So these are different sections in which this chapter has been divided. From Jnana Yoga, how can one come to pure devotional service, and then working in pure devotional service, surrendering to the super soul, and then in the most confidential knowledge of all, that is becoming a pure devotee. And Krishna tells in this section about Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja, giving that most confidential knowledge, and then preaching and studying the Bhagavad Gita, and then Arjuna is finally firmly fixed, and then Sanjaya's prediction. So this is like the complete summary of this verse, this chapters, this 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's a very big chapter. I'll try my level best to finish, but I cannot guarantee because it's a big chapter, and a lot of things need a lot of explanations. If we rush, then we may miss out many of the
जय
points
श्री कृष्ण
from.
चैतन्य।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you can take more like 2 Sundays for that if you want.
Okay, but next Sunday I'm not. Next Sunday I'm with Radhesham Prabhu in the retreat. So I'll try my level best. How much ever we can cover, or else the different speaker will try to cover up this thing.
Yes. Okay,
Um,
Prabhuji.
okay. So this is like very beautiful summary. And then if we go to the first section, acting with detachment is true renunciation and brings freedom from reaction. So this is first section where a true sannyasi, how does he does not renounce his activities but renounces the fruits of his activities. I want to show this one also. Yeah, we'll go to the verse by verse also. Very beautiful. One important thing before I start sharing anything is, in Bhagavad Gita, when I was studying for this 18th chapter, I came across this very wonderful theme of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is always asking many, many questions actually. And in Gita, if we just go through the analysis of complete Gita, out of Bhagavad Gita, 17 chapters where Krishna is the main speaker. Because first chapter, Krishna is not the main speaker. Who is the main speaker?
Krishna.
No, who is the main speaker in the first chapter?
Sanjaya.
Sanjaya. So Sanjaya is the main speaker. He is observing the army and he's presenting it to Dhritarashtra. But then the main speaker throughout the 17 chapters is Krishna. And out of those 17 chapters where Krishna is the main speaker, 9 chapters begin with questions from Arjuna. The second chapter begins with that. Third chapter begins with that. Fifth chapter, eighth chapter, 11th, 12th, 13th, 17th, and 18th. All these chapters actually they begin with the questions of Arjuna. And 7 chapters have questions. 7 more chapters. There are different questions asked further by Arjuna also. Like in the second chapter, he asks, the question, what are the characteristics of self-realized soul? This what is that? Sthita pragya. So first, second chapter, he starts, what is the dharma? What is my dharma? And then he asks, what are the characteristics of his Sthita pragya devotee? And then in third chapter, he asks, what exactly do you want me to do? You want me to fight or you want me to renounce? After speaking the complete second chapter, that is the summary of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is confused. Bole, you want me to fight or renounce? I'm a bit so much confused actually. So please tell me what exactly you want me to do. And then he again asks, what makes us act even though, in spite of, a living entity not willing to fight or not willing to give up, what is that strong thing in, that makes him still go and commit the sinful activities? And then Krishna tells it is lust only, Krishna, Arjuna. That is the that is without the willingness of the living entity, a person is impelled to act and commit sinful activities. And then this is how it goes. Fourth chapter again begins with, how did you instruct the sun god when you were younger than me, when you are still younger than me? And it's like really challenging question to challenging to hear that this knowledge was presented by me to even sun god. And then Arjuna is asking that. And then fifth chapter again begins with, what is better, action or renunciation? Do you want me to act or you want me to renounce? And then the sixth chapter again ends with, the questions by Arjuna. Is the process that require the controlling the mind, keep it equipoised practically? How do we do that? And what happens to the yogis who die before they attain spiritual perfection? So these are like very beautiful questions what Arjuna is asking. And then the eighth chapter begins with Arjuna's question again. What are Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva, Adi Yagya, and Pranakale? So these are like few questions what he is presenting to Krishna, and then Krishna is answering all these questions in the eighth chapter. And then again, in the 10th chapter, Arjuna is telling, how can I remember you in this world? And then Krishna speaks about the opulences of himself, how he is manifested among the best of the best things in this world. And then as soon as he hears the opulences, then he's questioning, can you please show me your universal form? That is 11th chapter. And then he's surprised seeing the universal form. And then he requests, who are you actually? You are such a wonderful personality. You have showed your universal form. And then again he asks, what is better in the 12th chapter? Being devoted to you as a person or worshipping the impersonal absolute? What is more important, impersonal worship or personal worship? And then Krishna tells answers these questions in the 12th chapter. So that way, if we consider, he is asking so many different questions. 13th chapter, what is Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetragya, Gyan, and Giyam? And then how can one transit the modes? That is 14th chapter. What is the faith of those who have faith but does not follow the scriptures? And then now the 18th chapter begins with this question: what is the purpose of renunciation and of the renounce order of the work? So this is where actually Krishna is beginning to speak about um, um, about um, about this chapter. So if we come to this um, if we go to the summary of this first five verses, it's very beautiful. Krishna begins by citing different philosophers. Arjuna asks Krishna to clarify what is tyag and what is sannyas. Tyag is different and sannyas is different. Tyag is renunciation. Tyag is, I don't want to, I want to give it up. And sannyas is like, what is sannyas and what is tyag, and what is the difference between both of them? And Krishna answers all these questions in the first four verses from 18.2 to 18.5. And he tells about tyag. Tyag is to renounce the result of all activities, whereas sannyas is to renounce the activities that are based on material desires. So that's a very beautiful difference in one way. Very subtle, but very wonderful difference. And most of the time, devotees don't understand this subtlety of tyag and renunciation, tyag and sannyas. or how the results of all activities have to be given up. Sometimes we are like very attached to the results, and we are very very attached. Sometimes when we do any service, we're looking for some recognition. Bole, someone should tell me, oh, the pujari is actually thinking that, oh, I've dressed the deities. Someone should come and pat my back. Bole, oh, beautiful dressing, Prabhu. You have done such wonderful dressing. That means he is still attached to the result of his activities, what he's doing. Though even though the activity is spiritual, someone is cooking, and someone tells, Prabhu ji, kya prasad banaya Prabhu ji aapne? Wow. और माता जी बहुत अच्छा प्रसाद बनाया. Just that attachment is there. Someone should tell some commitment. But the sannyas is to renounce the activities that are based on material desires, which implies that we renounce the fruit also, and we also work for it. We give up the material desire only. That I don't want to do this thing, material activities at all. That is sannyas. Sannyas means it's like an order. Also, it's like sannyas is giving up the desire, material desires, to do that activity. Whatever intention we have is spiritual intention to do that activity, rather than having material intention. So that is sannyas. Tyag is giving up the results, but sannyas is to have pure intention before even the activity begins. That what I'm doing is I'm doing it for Krishna. So that becomes sannyas. So Krishna explains further actually. This is just I'm giving the summary. And then Krishna continues there are different types of different opinions. One second, I'll just think. So Krishna Krishna is telling here different types of there are different types of renunciations, and based on those different types of renunciation, after all, Vedas also give laws of God Himself, and His words are taken into final consideration. So these are like very beautiful explanation in the verse 4, and verse 5 describes about religious duties, and sacrifice, penance should never be given because they are meant for purifying the soul. So the main emphasis goes here in this section, especially about Bhagavad Gita. How Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, describes devotional service as the most confidential knowledge, whereas chapter 13 to 17 establishes devotional service on the authority of Vedanta Sutra, meant for understanding devotional service. And it recommends this 5 chapters, 13 to 17 recommends do all your acts in conjunction with the Lord according to the scriptures. And when you do all your activities with the conjunction of the law, with the conjunction of the scriptures and with the Lord, and then we offer it, that Om Tat Sat, we that comes as the conclusion of the 17th chapter. And then middle 6 chapters describe pure devotional service. It's the nature and the activity, what has to be transformed. And then the first 6 chapters also includes uh, the best of the bhakti, how bhakti yoga is the best. Yoginam api sarvesham matkata antaratmanam. That sloka concludes, that the 6th chapter sloka concludes that what is the best thing. And the next actually, if you go to the first verse again, first verse speaks about how Arjuna is asking Krishna to, remove all his doubts. And for that, he's using not just one word. We'll just read that verse also. It's very beautiful verse, where Arjuna is addressing Krishna with 3 different names. Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasa Mahabhavo Taktam Ichhani Veditam Tyagascha Rishikesha Pratak Kikeshi Nisudanam. So in this verse also, Arjuna is telling that, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyag, and the renounced order of life, Sannyas. O killer of Keshi demon, master of the senses. So he's telling 3 adjectives just to emphasize how Krishna's greatness should be there. He should be glorifying Krishna, and using the words Mahabhavo, Rishikesha, Keshi Nisudana. the killer of Keshi demon. So he's addressing Krishna, and then he's asking that, each word, oh powerful Krishna, with your help, let my doubts be cleared off and let my faith increase. And Rishikesha, let me, O master of senses, please help me to attain mental stability. Arjuna is using this word. Allow my senses to be engaged in your service. And by doing that, what is happening is everything becomes very clear, and then I can become equipoised. And then, O killer of Keshi, oh, please, I expect you to kill all my doubts, which are compared to demon. So Krishna is, Arjuna is addressing that thing and asking this question. And Krishna starts replying to his answers in this section, where he tells about performance of activity for the result has been given up. Sacrifice, if you give up that thing, then it's tyag. Tyag means renouncing the result of all the activities or emotional uninvolvement in all the activities. This can be done even by the grahasthas. Tyag means he's not, attached to the activities, result of the activities. And sannyas is an ashram, or it means renouncing the kamya karma. Kamya karma, now we'll go through this different types of karmas also. What are the karmas? But one taking the sannyas ashram must perform nitya karma. So what are the karmas? I'll just show this one more slide of you. Hmm. This is also very beautiful. You'll understand very easily. There are 5 types of karmas, and the 5 types of karma, what are there is nitya karma. Nitya karma means daily operatory activities like doing Gayatri, chanting our round, daily Harinam, or cooking for the Lord and other things which are like nitya karma. And naimittika karma means occasionally we do these activities. Like the samskaras what are prescribed, that there are 40 samskaras what a living entity has to do, and what those 40 samskaras are described in the scriptures. They're like Garbhadan Samskar, Upanayan Samskar, Namkaran Samskar. When a person dies, we do Antishti Samskar. So all these Samskars, what we do, Upanayan Samskar. So all these Samskar are occasional Samskar. So this is Naimittika Karma. It comes occasionally, not like it is every day these activities are going to come. And then Kamya Karma. Kamya Karma is activities done to attain desired results. Like, you do some activities, yagya or something, just to go to heaven, or just to attain some, what do you call, higher position. So that activities what you do are Kamya Karma with a desire to attain something. You perform some activities, you are performing so many activities. We in bhakti also sometimes we do these activities. Like in bhakti yoga, generally we don't do these activities, but then I'm telling outside people, they engage in doing some sacrifices just to attain higher post and position or something like that. So this is kamya karma. And then uh, Paschita karma is attaining for, we are doing atonement for the sins what we have done. So sometimes, we like Indra has been asked to do atonement for hundreds of years because he he committed the crime, he committed the offense of offending the Brahmanas. So he went and took shelter, all the sinful activity, the sinful activity what he did because of committing an offense to his spiritual master and other brahmanas. This comes in the 6th chapter. Then he goes and he does paschatap. He goes and does paschatap in the stem of the lotus, and and there he's praying to the Supreme Lord. So he's trying to do atonement for his sinful activities. And nishada karma means forbidden activities. Most of the time people nowadays are doing nishada karma only. They don't know about what is the right activities what they do. Yesterday when I was giving class, when we were speaking, discussing about this 4 regulative principles, one of the boy was telling, "Arey Prabhuji, what you're telling is so true. Outside where I live, everyone, he's observing, his observation became very, very powerful. And he was telling, Prabhuji, outside these 4 regulative principles are broken like anything, Prabhu. I'm so surprised that none of these people know actually that they are breaking this four regulative principle: killing, drinking, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. All these are at the peak, where I'm living. And I told, it's not just you, we are also observing the same thing. I was going in the subway a couple of days back, and then I saw this very nice kids working, jumping in the subway, and two of the kids actually very very young, actually very beautiful. They were having their time, and they were enjoying their time. And then after some time they took out something to eat from their box, and what was there? They were eating burger. They did not, they are so ignorant that they don't even know that what they are eating is such a sinful activity. They are just eating, this meat, there is meat in between the bread, and then other sauce and other things, and they're eating that thing. And I was feeling, what is going to be the future of these kids. you know it's like so sinful. They hardly know what they are doing, so they are doing nishada karma. So these are like broad classifications of the karma. So for a sannyasi, or for a person, nitya karma is very very common. He has to do nitya karma of eating, nitya karma of eating, sleeping, taking care of the body, do bathing. So this is like worshipping the Lord. So that is nitya karma. But naimittika karma, it comes occasionally. Whereas for us, the other four actually are not like, other three are not at all recommended for a devotee: kamya karma, prashchita karma, and nishada karma. One, a devotee never does nishada karma for sure. And then prashchita karma, sometimes when he has done something wrong, then he can definitely do some prashchit. But kamya karma and nishada karma is not at all recommended. So these are like broad classifications of the karma. Like we have these two words comes in when we have pujaris also. Pujari also, like someone is doing puja every day, then he's called Nitya Pujari. Like he is the eternal, means he's the daily associate of the Supreme Lord. Whereas Naimittika Pujari means he just comes on, occasionally he comes to do Abhishek of the Lord whenever there is festival. That is Naimittika Pujari. Or he comes during the festival times only to help and do some services. So this is like these two words we generally use for Pujari services also: Nitya Pujari and Naimittika Pujari. And then other, I just could relate to these words very nicely. So this is like, these are like different types of broad classification of the karmas, and which we do. So in nishada karma, most of the time the forbidden activities, sometimes people do, which are not mentioned in the scriptures also. So they have their own mental speculation, and then they do all their different activities. So in this way, if we see, Krishna is describing about the different activities, different karma. And then in the third one, he's giving different opinion about himself, about different opinion about the Vedic scriptures, about renunciation and activities. What is he telling? There are different, that some say that fruitive activity is fault, and others say that the acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. So what is the opinion? And he gives that, what is the opinion? That it's like killing the animal for sacrifice is subjected to the contention of the sages. So he's giving this different things. Some maintain the animal killing sacrifice totally to be abandoned, but some say it is required. So he's giving different opinion, and then he goes on further telling that, in my opinion, Lord Krishna tells in that, that these three kinds of renunciation based on the three modes. So what are the three modes? That renunciation also is dependent on the three modes. Lord's opinion stands above all the Vedas, and after all, Vedas are different laws given by the Lord himself. So his word should be taken as final. So what is he telling? He's telling that my opinion is that acts of charity, he tells that, he gives this opinion that acts of charity, sacrifice, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. That is what he's telling in the fifth verse of the Gita. And then we'll just recite this verse, this very beautiful words also. Yajna tapa karma na tyagam karma eva tat. Yajna tapaschaivam pavani manishmanam. So Krishna is telling that act of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, even these activities when performed, they are performed by the pure souls, great souls just for purification. So these activities are never to be given up actually. And these activities are very much recommended for everyone. And then he describes about the different types of attitudes while performing the sacrifice, charity and penance. What should be the attitude? That is in the next three verses he's describing, Krishna is describing very nicely. What should be the attitude while performing the sacrifice? Without attachment or any expectation of results. If only as a matter of duty, if a person is doing that activities, then that activities, this thing is said to be in the mode of goodness, or else the renunciation is in the mode of passion and ignorance. He further describes, he tells only as a matter of purification of one existence, one is doing these activities. So when we are doing any sacrifice, when we are doing, like sometimes we have this attitude, let me do some austerity, let me do some sacrifice, in the sense, let me do some fasting or something like that. And the attitude is that I want to please the Supreme Lord. I know it should be that I want to give charity, I want to give anything. That is for the purification of my heart that I am doing this thing. Not that I want to become very strong, or sometimes devotees have, not devotees, sometimes, okay, I'm become very fat. Let me do some tapasya. That is not the thing. The main thing is that I want to please the Supreme Lord. What is that? Save pumsa paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahetu kiya pratyata he atma suprasidati. So Krishna is telling the highest category for which one should perform these activities is to please the Supreme Lord. Is that I want to do all these activities just I should be able to please, and I should be able to progress in devotional service. So if that is there, then that is proper renunciation. And then what is renunciation in mode of ignorance? We are doing renunciation in mode of ignorance. Krishna is telling that he uses the word pratigyas in the seventh chapter, in the seventh verse, where he's telling, are sannyas, yoga and tyaga are the same or different? Krishna is telling, yes, something they are different. Krishna's opinion is that he never thinks they are different. Indeed, Srila Prabhupada translate also that here the word renunciation, Prabhupada translate in the translation. If you go and read this translation, that is a very beautiful translation. I'll just read it so that it becomes easier. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of his illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. If one thinks, what is the point of just doing, let me renounce everything. And most of the time people get this thought when they are frustrated with the life, and they think, okay, bas ho gaya abhi jeevan se, let me renounce everything. Or sometimes because of the frustrations, miseries in their lives, people generally, sorry, one second, people generally think that it's important for me to renounce, but it's not like that. We renounce, if we are renouncing the activities without understanding the purpose, then it's in the renunciation is in the mode of ignorance. So one is not supposed to give up his prescribed duties. That is for sure. His prescribed duties should never be given. That is the great illusion. This is uh, very wonderful also to understand. Prabhupada writes about cooking. Purport is very beautiful. Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one. I'll just share this thing. Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in renounced order of the life should not cook for himself. Prabhupada writes very clearly. He is not supposed to cook for himself. But cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform marriage ceremony to help his disciple advance in advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in mode of darkness. Srila Prabhupada was condemned by his other god brothers and others because he was conducting marriages of his disciple. But Prabhupada is writing clearly that even though I'm a sannyasi, I'm performing this activity just so that the disciples should advance in Krishna consciousness. If they are not married, the Western people, if they are not married, then what will happen? They will become like, they will not be able to control their senses, and they will do all illicit activities. Better, get them married. And there was no one else during that time. So Prabhupada used this philosophy, this teachings of Bhagavad Gita in his life in practical application. He was not a person who just whimsically followed anything, but he used the teachings very, very wonderfully. And he showed us the way how one can apply these teachings in our life. So one should not renounce his activity. He should not give up his activities. Rather, he should work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Any activity he is doing, the intention is very clear that he is working for the Supreme Lord. If he is not, then it's very, very difficult. Then Krishna is telling what is happening. Anyone who gives up the prescribed duty as troublesome, out of fear of bodily discomfort, is said to renounce in the mode of passion. Such actions never lead to elevation of the renunciation. And most of the time we are, you know people outside actually think that अरे बहुत ज्यादा तपस्या करना पड़ता है, बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ता है, और कुछ हो जाएगा मेरे को, तो thinking of this thing they renounce the activity. बोले मैं थक गया, बस हो गया अभी, that is like something which, and then there is no, that type of renunciation is not at all recommended. Kasya klesha bhaya tyaga, out of fear of fear that what will happen, then people actually give up these activities. So these are like very beautiful things what Srila Prabhupada is presenting here in this verse. We'll have to go a little faster. I feel I'm going very slow. You know, Prabhupada writes in this thing also that a Krishna conscious person, he um, doesn't give up the what do you call, activity of earning for Lord Krishna. He, even though it's troublesome, and sometimes people think outside that sannyasis or someone who is a devotee should not earn, because it's like you get fruitive activities and you get attached to those fruitive activities, so you may fall down from that fruitive activities, so better give up that activity. No, it's not like that. We work hard, but we give the results to Krishna. So the result of passionate work is always miserable. But if a person renounces such work, that spirit, he never gives up the result of renunciation. So he's not at all giving up the activity, and neither he's giving up, he's giving up the result of the activity. So in the ninth verse, Krishna is telling about renunciation in mode of goodness. What is renunciation in mode of goodness? He's performing his prescribed duty because it has to be performed. Someone has to perform it, and it's my prescribed duty. Let me perform it for worshipping Krishna. So his main consciousness is that allow me, by this services what I'm doing, or by this activities what I'm doing, or by working for Krishna, what am I doing? I'm giving, offering my results to Krishna, and I'm not attached to the fruits. I'm not at all attached to the fruits. Let whatever may happen. Like when we go out for book distribution, we are not like thinking ki, who will take the book, how much score we are getting. That is not the thought. That the thing is, let me go and please Srila Prabhupada, let me go and please Krishna. So that way, when we are doing the activity, and then that renouncing of this, when we go and do this activity with that mood, then that is not renunciation in one way. So he's performing his prescribed duty as a book distributor, but he's not attached to the result of the book distribution. So a man may work, not just, a devotee may work, not just doing book distribution. He might work in a factory, he might go in a IT company, he can go in his office, he can be a teacher, he can be a cook, he can do any activity. But the main factor, what is important is, what is his consciousness, and what is he doing with the result. The thing is, any activity you do, but the thought is that let me do this activity to please Krishna. If a student is studying very nicely, the thing is, why is he studying? to get nice degree so that he can offer it at the lotus feet of Krishna. Tomorrow, if someone sees and tells, wow, you got a very nice degree of your studying, yes, this is all because of Krishna's mercy. That should be the answer. If that is what a student is thinking, and while pursuing also, he's thinking of pleasing Krishna, that let me work very hard so that I can please Krishna. Let me work very hard to maintain my family so that Krishna is pleased. These are Krishna has given this thing to me to take care. So I am just a caretaker of these things. I have to take proper care of this thing so that I'll be able to answerable to my spiritual master and to Krishna, because they are the one who has given this thing. So if that is the thought process of a devotee, then his activities are he's renouncing. His renunciation is in the mode of goodness. So he's giving up the result of the activities. He's not giving the activity. He's giving up the result of the activity. So this is what is proper intelligent person actually. So one who is in the mode of goodness, in the 10th verse is telling, he neither hates the inauspicious or auspicious activities, neither is attached to the auspicious work, neither is detached from the auspicious work. But what he has no doubt about what he's working. Why? Because he's sure that he's working for Krishna. And one who does that, one who does not hate anyone or anything that troubles his body, and one who works in a proper place at proper time, not that he's doing improper activities at improper time or proper activities at improper time. So he knows what he's doing is proper. And this is what Krishna is telling, that without fearing for the troublesome effects of this one, he is completely doing the activities as per the guidance of the scriptures and the devotees. And then what is important, this is like the conclusion of this renunciation. It's impossible to give up the activities, Krishna is telling. It's impossible to perform some. Everyone has to perform some activities. So it's very important what he's telling. We'll just go through the sloka. It's very beautiful. Yeah. Nahi deha vritta sakyam. Nahi deha vritta sakyam tyaktam karma achestita. Yastu karma falatyaga satyagat abhigachyate. So what is Krishna telling here? Krishna is telling very beautifully, it is indeed impossible for the embodied living entity to give up all activities. But he who renounces the fruits of action is called one to be a truly renounced person. So who is a renounced person? Who does not, who he who renounces the fruits of action is called to be a truly renounced person. So this is like the definition what Krishna is telling. One is like giving up all the result of these activities. And Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport also in this thing. There are many members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their offices or in the factories or some other places, and whatever they earn, they give it to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for the purpose of fruits of and what purpose fruit should be renounced. So this is like something what Srila Prabhupada is recommending everyone to do. That when we want to follow this the teachings of Gita, he's telling that anywhere you work, but you give the result for preaching the message of Lord Krishna. So that is like very very important. So they are more greater than the sannyasis. Like I remember the example of Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu, when he was there, he was in LA. And what he used to do, he used to, just to support the temple, he used to drive the vehicle. Every day after morning program is over, after he takes prasad, he serves prasad to everyone from 10 o'clock in the morning till evening, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. He used to drive his taxi because there was no income source during that time. So he used to go out and work very hard, and he used to give small books or pamphlets to the passengers who are coming and sitting in his car. That way he was preaching also. And at the same time, whatever he earned, he used to bring and give it for the running of the temple. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is telling, that such sannyasis, such elevated souls are actually sannyasis because they are situated in the renounced order of life, because they are giving up whatever they earn. At least for us, for a grahastha, Prabhupada has recommended that at least they should be able to give up 25% of what they are earning for the support of this society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or for preaching purpose. So at least that should be the thing, Prabhupada is recommending, that if one should be able to give up this thing. If one doesn't give up, then it's like one is attached to his results. One is just utilizing his results for serving his own things. So this is what Krishna is teaching here in this very beautiful shloka. And then Krishna, based on different things, based on different types of renunciation, is telling one who is attached to the fruits, he has to suffer or enjoy in this threefold material, in the threefold reactions of this material world. And one who is detached, he becomes liberated from this threefold reactions, especially desirable, undesirable, and mixed. And so, what action one should do and what reaction one will get, it all depends on how he gives up the result of the activity. What about person acting in Krishna consciousness? Yes, he is always liberated. Why? Because he is acting in relationship with Krishna. He is acting, based on the relationship what he has with Krishna. Therefore, he does not suffer anything. Neither he enjoys or he suffers the result of anything. So this is section 1, what we covered. Now, if we immediately take the section B also is very beautiful. Here, the conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta actions are directed by Super Soul. That's what Krishna is telling. This is a very beautiful section of what are the 5 causes of action Krishna is going to speak. And he gives very beautiful explanation. Let us go through that verse and then we will come. So that is the first section about what is sannyas and what is tyag. And now Krishna is telling about what is uh, what are the activities for doing any activity. What are the 5 factors? What are the 5 factors? What are required? Panchataani mahabhavo कारणी निबोध में सांख्य कृतंते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्व कर्मणाम. So Krishna is telling, O mighty Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all actions. Now learn of these from me. And what is he telling? Adhishtatam tata karta karanam cha pratak vidham vividascha pratak chesta daivam cha varta panchamam. What is Krishna telling? The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of the action. I'll just show you this PPT also. This is very beautiful. This. What are the 5? This 5 activities. Adhishtatam, place of action, that is body. Karta, the soul. Karanam, senses, instrument of the action. And chesta. Chesta is endeavor or the effort what one. And then Daiva. Someone's, this thing is on. Okay. Daivam. So, super soul, all our activities depend on his will and action. So, what is the main criteria? We may have Adhishtatam, Karta, Karanam, Chesta, but Daivam is also very, very important. Daivam decides the factor. So, here this slide explains very beautifully. A living entity, 5 causes of the activity. Adhishtatam, place of worship is there, like the material cause. And the doer, Karta is there. Chesta is there, Karanam is there, the senses are there. But what Daivam defines the activity. Like a person is there who is trying to, who wants to do this activity. It's like, so he has this body. In one way, he has the facility. Like, I want to drive my car, So the thing is, place of action is the material cause. Material cause is I need the road. So that is the road, this is there. And material senses is the car, that I have the car, the senses are there, the car is there. And chesta is like I want to go from one place to anywhere. So I'm putting endeavor while driving. And who is the driver is the karta. But the main factor what depends is daivam. Daivam means all activities depend on upon the will and sanction by the Supreme Lord. Unless there is the sanction, there is no petrol in the car, even though there is nice road, the driver is there, the car is there, the driver is putting the endeavor on the brake, but there is no petrol in the car, then that is like the car will not move ahead. So I'm just giving a raw example. But then this is what actually feels. And if any one of the things is also not there, then the action will not take place. Suppose I have the car, but the road is not proper. There is no road only, so you cannot drive. And karta, the driver is not there. There is no point actually. And if chesta is there, you're putting endeavor to push the car, but there is no oh, car or no road or anything like that. So any one of the thing is not there, then the action is called incomplete. So karta is the doer, the consciousness reflect in this. What is karta? He's the karta actually. Karta is like the person who is trying to do this activity. So person naturally who is acting, this is referred in the Vedanta Sutra, that what he's acting. This is those who are in complete Krishna consciousness are ultimately responsible for their actions. Naturally, not bound by any activity, since acting under the direction of the super soul in the heart. So this is like very wonderful. Both right and wrong actions performed by body, mind, and speech. It's like karta is there, soul, chesta is there, endeavors are there, karanam is there, senses are there, adhashtitam, place of action is there, and daivam, the super soul is there. Then only the right action happens. So work done according to the scriptural injunction, all these five factors are important. And without these five factors, one just cannot do his activities. So these are like some things which one can really understand how Krishna is telling about this is a very important subject in one way in the 18th chapter to understand for any activity. And sometimes we tell, I'm putting so much endeavor, so much prayas I'm doing, but the thing is not happening. Why? Because the time is not correct, or might be that is the material nature. Sometimes the material nature doesn't work in the right way, and then it's like you know we even though we are putting so much adhishtitam, that time has not come. And then sometimes the karta is willing to do, chesta is there, karanam is there, but then the Lord sanction is not there. Without Lord sanction, the thing won't happen only. So it's very very important, this subject, this concept of the Bhagavad Gita, especially this two verses what they teach actually, that these five factors. So if one understands these five factors, he will not get depressed, or he will not get into anxiety when some certain things not happen. Like a person who loses his job, and then he's thinking, why is that thing happened to me? Or he's working so hard to get a job, why is it not happening right now? So everything is there, but daiva might not be there. Or adhashtitam, sometimes the place might not be there, right place might not be there where you should be working. So it can be any factor, but these are like the five factors for doing any activity, any action. So a intelligent person, he doesn't consider that the Supreme Lord as the final doer. It is the intelligent to consider oneself as the independent doer of one's action. I am the doer. That is the non-intelligence here. A non-intelligent person will look into this thing, that I am the doer rather than the Supreme Lord to be the doer. An intelligent person, how he sees, we can just see how he's telling it. That comes in 17th verse. Yeah. Yasya na krito bhava buddhir yasya na lipyate hatva picha imal loke na hanti na nipan, nipadyate. So Krishna here is telling about an intelligent person, one who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in the world, does not kill, nor is he bound by the action. So what does an intelligent person do? Is he is not motivated by any of his false ego. Rather, an unintelligent person, what he does, Krishna is telling here. Therefore, one who thinks himself to be the doer, not considering the five factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So it never gives a consideration to the super soul who is sitting inside this heart and gives, that's what Prabhupada writes in the purport, very beautiful purport. Small, but he writes, although the material cause, a foolish person cannot understand that the super soul is sitting as a friend within and is conducting his activities. Although the material causes are the places, the work, the worker, the endeavor, and the senses, the final cause is the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, one should see not only the four material causes, but the supreme efficient cause as well. One who does not see the supreme think himself to be the doer. Most of the time, people outside are very proud of what they are doing, but they don't understand that the ability of what they're doing has been given by the Supreme Lord, and that the Supreme Lord is sanctioning these activities. Without his sanction, neither the material nature, neither my endeavor, neither my skill set, will come up, uh, where I can give up these things, where I can perform this activity. So most of the time, people are always thinking of this aspect only. Ki I am the doer, karta hamiti manyate, prakati kriya karmani, gune karmani sarvasha, ahankar vimudatma. That is ahankar of a person. He's thinking that I am the doer. Rather than considering Krishna to be the doer, we consider ourselves to be a greatest doer. And they think it's like, oh my goodness, that, how can the activity not happen without my sanction, without my doing it? So a Krishna conscious person, he always consider himself to be the, um, to be the, what do you call, to be the instrument in the hands of the Lord for any activity. So without that, it can never happen. Any activity can never happen. And this is where Krishna is telling very nicely about this verses. So what he's telling ahead is three impetus, motivator, and three constitutes the thing, karma, the doer, the work, and the senses, karanam. And then three impetus, jnanam, knowledge, the knower, and the object of the knowledge, gyam. Okay, this also I think I can show it. 1 second. So if we go through this slide also, somehow I was fortunate enough to find this small PPT in which certain things are very, very wonderfully explained. Um, Action, this is the 18th verse. It tells about action is motivated by knower, knowing the known. In other words, activity of the prescribed activity is motivated by a person knower, perceiving a desirable object. And by thus inspired action is carried out by the senses without the effect or exerted by the karta. So what are the three things what Krishna is telling? Any work done has these elements: the work, the doer, and the senses. So the work means a person is there to work or to do this thing. And what is the main thing? He is doing it with the senses. So we are doing any activity, we are doing it with our senses. And then the soul is also there. The 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 karta, the karta is there, the soul. And then what is the impetus? Impetus is any activity we do, there is some knowledge of activity what we are doing. And the person is there who is knowing the knowledge. Pratijata, he's there. And then Gyayam is there. What is the object of doing that activity? That is also known. So any activity do, there is one knowledge aspect of it, and then there is the doer aspect of it. So if we have the proper doership and the proper knowledge, then that activity becomes very, very proper. And this is what Krishna is further explaining. very nicely. Karma sangraha graham. What is that? He is telling that what you are working, planning subtle form of actions. Any solution, this is okay. This is not like okay. I'll have to go through this one. So any activity we do, these six aspects are very very important, where a person can be doing in this thing. So yeah, now if we come to this next verse of this section, where the modes control. How long should I take? It's already 8:30 now. Well, I'll stop after this section. This section is coming now. This section starts from 19 to 40, where the modes control all the activities that are there, and this describes about jnanam, karta, and karanam. So these are like these three things describing from jnanam, karta, and karanam will be described in the next 13 verses. And then what are the karta and karam and karma, that will be described ahead actually in further verses till 40. So this is again a very big section where one can do what is the equal vision Krishna tells. Krishna has told about this equal vision ahead also, and he tells this thing. But I'll stop here and we'll take some reflections and questions, because this is a very big section ahead, and I don't want to jump into that section now. Maybe in the next devotee, whoever is taking, if I'm there, I'll try to see. So sarva bhuteshu yenikam bhavan avyam ikshitam avibhakta vibhutesha tagyanam vidhi satvikam. So he's telling what is the seer. Knowledge by which one is not divided by the spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms. The same like the vision what a person has, when he sees all the living entities together. So these are like very beautiful things. Knowledge in mode of passion, knowledge in mode of ignorance. What is action in mode of goodness, action in mode of passion, action in mode of ignorance, worker in mode of goodness, worker in mode of passion, worker in mode of ignorance. So all these three things defines different types of determinations what we have, understanding and determination, and it all further goes ahead. What is our understanding? What is the right understanding? Understanding in mode of passion, understanding in mode of ignorance, and then determination in passion, ignorance, and goodness, and then happiness. What is mode of happiness, goodness? So there's a very big table where if we go through it, see to it, it can really be wonderful to understand. So maybe if I take further next time, I but next week if I'll be in the retreat actually with Radhesham Prabhu, so I may not be able to take next week. Okay, we will stop here, and we'll take any reflections, questions, or comments or corrections, whatever you find it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Uh, Prabhu, you explained the first section where you explained the importance of working in mode of service, as we are serving whatever we spiritual activities or whatever activities we do, it should be done as a service to the Lord,
Mm.
right? And in the second section, you said there are five elements that come, like five.
Yeah, five elements
Five.
that constitute. Yes,
Yeah, so Supreme Lord, Jiva, time, karma, and there's one more I'm forgetting,
Daivam,
and material. Huh?
material nature, material
Material
nature.
nature. Yeah. So, Prabhu, I was just trying to understand that many times we see that even spiritual activities are performed in mode of passion. Like
Yes.
many, and people are after name and fame and credit. So, how do you understand that, Prabhu, in this context? Because, and as a observer, like, yes, we have to practice that, but when we are observing those situations around us, how do you process it? Like, um, if if activities are taking place, Krishna is sanctioning them. But then people are in mode of, like, they are on path of devotional service, but they are still performing activities that are done in mode of passion. So how do you understand? There is, I'm confused about that, Prabhu. So if you could just elaborate that
Yeah,
topic. Yeah.
definitely. The thing is, see, actions, what a person does. This comes in the section of 30 to 32, where a person is performing his activities under the false ego, and is trying to put lot of efforts to satisfy one's own desire. Even though he's doing spiritual activities, I'm telling about spiritual activities, what he's doing. He's doing it to satisfy his ego, and is putting lot of efforts, and he has his own personal agenda, and he wants to enjoy the works of what he's doing. Is it not what you just told, that a person is, he might be spiritual, but he's doing for his ego, or he's doing for his name and fame. He's putting lot of effort, he's working hard, and then to satisfy his own desires, subtle desires, that are, let me get this facility, let me get that, let me get this thing, that thing, and then he's enjoying the result also, that he's enjoying the name and fame, what he's getting to. So these activities are nothing but the activities mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita only, that these are activities done in actions done in mode of passion only. And when a person does this action, how do we see that the Lord is sanctioning this thing? So Lord is sometimes is very wonderful to understand how Lord satisfies, or fulfill all the desires of the living entity. Even though the living entity may sometimes desire to do very harmful activities for himself, but the Lord, as the super soul, he sanctions those activities. Because if he doesn't sanction, then how will that living entity learn? Will that living entity learn by himself if the Lord doesn't sanction? No. And if he has a very strong desire, he has a very strong desire to do that activity, and he's like making lot of endeavors. He's just not putting something, but he's putting lot of endeavors to achieve the result of what he's doing. And he's and the Lord sometimes has to fulfill all the desires of the living entities. So this is something what Lord unwillingly does that thing. I was reading this very beautiful sentence, and then I was saying, whatever we want, if Krishna is sanctioning, that is uh, Krishna's mercy upon us. But whatever we don't want and Krishna is not sanctioning, that is Krishna's will actually. So most of the time, if we as a devotee, we think whatever I want and Krishna is sanctioning, that is like a little bit of mercy upon the living entity. That is not supreme mercy, but that is just the mercy of the Lord. But whatever we are desiring, and it might not be the right thing for us, but then Krishna is actually not fulfilling that desires, then that is special mercy of the Supreme Lord upon us. So I consider that thing, that this factor of Daivam is very, very difficult to understand how it acts. Same thing is asked by Yudhishthir Maharaj also to Bhishma Dev. How is it that we should understand that so much injustice has taken place to us, and they have gone through such injustice, and they could definitely ask that what did we do wrong that we are going through so much injustice in this life. And he asked Bhishma Dev why it is, and Bhishma Dev answers this in the ninth chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. He tells that is the will of the Supreme Lord, and the Kal both have acted actually at the right time. That's why this has come. So it's very difficult, a lot of great philosophers and everyone have thought this thing, and they come to the conclusion that we cannot understand the will of the Supreme Lord. How does it act? How does it purify a living entity? We just cannot understand sometimes. The Lord may sometimes sanction the living entity, the right things or the wrong things, and then fulfill the desires of the living entity. It's like sometimes it's like a simple example. A parent is giving a knife in the hand of a small child. What will happen? So the parent knows that he will definitely get a cut. but he's waiting so that the child gets an experience, and then he will be more careful not to utilize the knife in the right way, in the wrong way. Same thing. Prabhupada also tells this thing that when I wanted to put my hand in the fan, what did my father do? His father switched off the fan, and then he brought his hand towards the fan, and when it was about to stop, very slow, that time he put his finger, and then immediately he got a cut, he got a touch of the fan, and then he was scared and he removed it immediately. So that was like, that is something what Krishna has to do unwillingly most of the times for the living entities, because the living entity is desiring like that. What can be done, even though we are and unfortunately for a devotee, when we come to the path of practicing bhakti, we as devotees, sometimes we desire something which is very, very wrong. And pure devotional service should, purify the intention of our heart. But most of the time, if we don't desire the right things, then what happens? We are getting into, we get the trouble of, making the Lord fulfill all our unwanted desires. And we have to suffer, as well as the Lord has to suffer, seeing that the living entity is not practicing pure devotional service. So this is my understanding about, how the Lord, and how do a devotee sees that the Lord is, doing this thing. We see that it Lord, and uh, the Lord personally acts in the lives of every devotee, and he is the one who is acting and removing all the unwanted anarthas from the heart by giving the right situation sometimes, or for that devotee. Anything happening is happening under the guidance of the Supreme Lord. And when it's happening, it's like, if it is for the purification of our heart only. It is most of the time, it's purification of our heart. The Lord wants that this impurity be taken away. Sometimes we, by giving up, by giving the result of that activity, or by not giving the result of the activity, and we just see that it's Lord's mercy upon that person, if he's progressing in the path of practicing spiritual life, or progressing in the path of bhakti, or if he's degrading, if he's misutilizing the thing what he's giving. Sometimes we find very wonderful leaders, when they are given post and position, they do wonders. And sometimes the people, those who get post and position, they do so many things which are not supposed to be done. So we understand, it's like the Lord is just giving them the knife in the hand, and just waiting for them to use in the right way. If they use it in the right way, they can do great amount of operations. If they don't do, they harm themselves, they harm the other devotees also, or they harm the people around. If a knife is given in the hand of a child, or something like that. So that is my understanding. The Lord is seeing all these things, and the Lord is the one who takes care of the devotees. So, but for sure, he's acting in the mode of passion. If he's just looking for name, fame, position, or if he's looking for facilities, then it's like to be understood that he's just acting with that way.
Yeah, Prabhu, one more question is coming up. If nobody has any questions, can I go ahead and ask?
I don't know someone has any questions or
Right.
not.
Yeah, I have a question, but you can finish and then I can go next.
Okay.
So, Prabhu, the senior devotees, if they observe something is going wrong, do they notice it, or like they are so much engrossed in the Lord's service that whatever um, is going around them, they don't notice it, or do they notice, Prabhu?
Yeah, they do notice it.
They do. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
The
you,
thing is,
Prabhu.
they may not correct it, or they may not tell it directly, but they will definitely state the principle that something is going wrong here. And sometimes, really, when we go in some situations, some places, we can really feel see the ambience, and we can tell, oh, there is something wrong here happening, and we can come to that conclusion very easily. It's not a big thing actually, and for pure devotees, it's very, very easy. No one can, like, what do you call, um, no one can hide anything. It's very, very easy. Rahasham Prabhu gives a very wonderful example actually, very gross, very, very, very gross, but he tells this example that uh, that a person who has passed tool in his pant, what he will do? He will understand that he has passed tool in his pant, but slowly, everyone will come to know because it starts smelling disgusting. And after some time, everyone, he might try to hide it, but it's not possible actually. But everyone around also will come to know that there is something wrong with this person. And if he doesn't get cleaned himself very fastly, then things will actually be very, very tough for everyone to handle it.
Yes.
So this is like very, very gross. So they observe this thing that something is wrong with the devotee or with the attitude of a devotee. And they definitely mention that, yes, one should, they should purify it. So how this is also very important, even though we may observe it, but if we don't have the adhikar, if we don't have the relationship with that devotee, there is no point going and telling to that devotee. We may just tell it to the authorities, to the right authorities, and we can wait for what action they will take or what action Krishna will take. But then if we don't have the adhikar, like I'm not the temple president, it's not none of my business that I should go and correct each and every devotee. But at the same time, if I find something wrong someone is doing, definitely I bring it to the notice of the temple president and tell him, Prabhu, please take action on this thing. This might harm just not him or the devotee, but it might harm the other devotees also, or it might set a wrong example. So that can be done. That can always be done.
Thank
Is
you
that
so
okay?
much, Prabhu. Yeah, and
Thank
that
you.
example is gonna stay with me. That was gross but very apt. Yeah, very
Yeah,
apt example. Yes, Prabhu.
Radhesham Prabhu gives this example. When he gave this example, everyone was like, oh my God, this is really very gross. But this example is really very strong.
Yeah,
And we understand sometimes it really works, We know that someone is acting very wrongly in a situation. That means he's just, he's telling not just by his actions, but he's telling no to everyone eventually that, I have acted wrongly.
yeah. Like, even if the person tries to hide, but everyone around them knows that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Dandavat pranam.
Dandavad. Yes, someone had a question. Nikunj.
Yes. Hi, my name is Urvi, and
Oh, yes.
thank you, Prabhu, for a very nice lecture. Really, a lot of thoughtful questions. I had question that sometimes you feel, like you're stuck or there is a hesitation. Then do you assume that you are wrong, and then how do you ensure or then check and correct the path and make sure you're driving towards the right purpose? So I do not know, how do you check or how do you know when you're wrong, and then how do you realign yourself?
Uh, See, the thing is, if we are going off track or if we are going, there are many things what we can check. What is making me not take to the path very seriously or not commit to my path, or it's very, very important to understand. Sometimes there is unwillingness in our heart to accept the process. It's most of the time, and that is considered like one thing which is obstructing a person to accept this process of bhakti very seriously. And for that, he needs to be in the right association. If he's in the right association, things can take place in a very beautiful way. I'll give you an example, from my own family life. Family life in the sense my sister and me were like, we grew in the same family, and me and my brother grew up very nicely in bhakti. We became very nice devotees. But when it came to my sister, it became very difficult. Why? Because she could not go to the temple and associate with devotees. And it was very, very difficult. She knew the process, she knew the philosophy, she knew the way of chanting and everything. But what was the main factor I could consider, that now she's taking up the process nightly, she's chanting and going for some satsang programs. But then the main factor for her to take up this process was that she could not find the right association. Even though she came to temple sometimes, but she could not find the right association in which it could have been very friendly for her to grow in bhakti. And I consider that this factor, where most of the times it's the hesitation of the mind, the right association is not there, then the living entity doesn't take to the process or to the path very easily, and he hesitates a lot actually, whether to commit or not to commit, whether this process is going to work for me. It might work for some other person, but for me or not. Is that the right understanding what I have for your question? Or if, um, Hare Krishna Mataji, Urvi Mataji.
I'm just trying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yes, somewhat right, and somewhat. I'm still trying to understand everything. I don't have that much knowledge, but yeah, I'm just trying to. Yeah, you're saying it's the right association, and to be in the right group to kind of keep checking or help you to
Yeah,
be on the right path with the right
yeah,
purpose. But then
yes.
sometimes if you're stuck, you were, or something is not going according to your willingness, then do you automatically assume that maybe you are wrong or you're trying for wrong thing? Or I'm just trying to understand, how do you know when you're wrong and when you're not wrong, when you're stuck?
The thing is, if we are stuck or if we are wrong now, the main important aspect is we always check with the devotees. We have three checking factor for doing anything. If we do any activity or anything anywhere we have a doubt, we have three checklist we can tell. The three things are: we check with the scriptures, we check with the sadhu, we check with the guru. If we are able to check with all these three things, or either of one, we can understand that we have got stuck in some place or in some situation where I'm not progressing ahead, or I'm not doing any activities which are proper. So this guru, sadhu and shastra, they play a very vital role. And especially for us, shastras, they give the right direction actually. They gives what is to be done, what is not to be done. Do's and don'ts are very nicely prescribed. And how do we check whether we are progressing or not? We check on the basis of the scriptures, and we basis on the words of the sadhu. Like Srila Prabhupada tells, how do we know that we are becoming Krishna conscious? That means you are increasing your taste for serving Krishna very nicely. And how do we serve Krishna very nicely? The first thing in the morning is the first priority we give it to Krishna. That is, we sit and chant the holy names of the Lord. We want to hear the message of the Lord every day. We don't want to start our day and do something else. And we want to always keep thinking of Krishna. So that is like our checklist, that anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. That we are checking whatever is favorable for my bhakti, am I doing that? And what is pratikul, whatever is like unwanted things, I want to give up those things. So if you are able to give up those things, that is the path, that is the way you can check whether, and that is favorable for my bhakti, for my practice of my bhakti. Sometimes we are stuck up in a family situation, that we give up bhakti rather than making a balance of making a balance of practicing spiritual life and the family life. Most of the time we think this process is not going to work, or let this process wait for some time. But rather, during that time, what we need to do is we need to go and ask the guidance from the devotees. If you are connected to anyone in the devotee who you can speak and ask for guidance, that is the best thing actually. That way you can help. I'm facing this problem in my bhakti, in the process of accepting bhakti. And then when you present it, the devotee definitely gives the solution according to the problem what you are facing, or whatever is required in your situation. You can do that. So it's very important. Guidance of devotee can help a person to progress nicely. If you are situated very nearby to a devotee, you go to a satsang program or to the Sunday program, you should speak to someone who is very senior or a little bit senior also, and whom you can have very nice faith and relationship. That means the devotee is very nicely practicing, and you are able to express whatever problems you are having, and then that becomes very easy actually. That way, you will not, even though you are stuck, you can easily come out of your situation very easily. And you can check your this thing, how am I doing my, how am I, what is my consciousness throughout the day. That is the checklist. Like, am I remembering Krishna, am I pleasing Krishna by all my activities, am I chanting the names of Krishna every day, I'm chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because what it will happen is, we are trying to please Krishna by doing all these activities, by chanting the name of the Lord. Krishna will be more pleased. And Krishna will be pleased. Krishna doesn't want that everyone should chant, but he wants that our heart should get purified. And that is the way he's expecting that this will be beneficial for us. So we are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna, but for ourselves we are doing. So when we start doing these activities, it's like it's all the more it's beneficial for us, the process of bhakti, rather than just beneficial to Krishna. So if we have that consciousness, and we always check with the devotees whom we are taking, that's why Radhanath Maharaj always tells that there should be at least a person who is our friend in bhakti, who is our friend, a devotee who is our friend, whom we can go and tell, whom we can go and speak when there is problem, or when we are happy also we are going and expressing that thing to him, and then that becomes like one of the best things to have in our life. And that way you can check whether you're stuck or you're growing or you're going down. That is very easy to check.
Right.
Is
Thank
that
you,
okay?
Prabhuji. Yes, yes, very nice answer. I'm completely understanding and following. So, and even
Thank
I
you.
know the next steps. So, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, is there any other question or comments? So, Shyam Rasika Mataji, if someone else is taking, they should start taking from the 20th verse. I feel I stopped at 20th verse,
Okay.
19th verse onwards, 19th verse onwards.
Yes,
So,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much for this nectarian class and explaining this chapter of 18
this
chapter.
chapter is a very big chapter, so
Yes,
that's why I'm going slowly. If we
yeah, yeah,
go fast, then we can
yeah. We
finish
can
it off, but
understand.
devotees will not understand.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for this split of this verses and everything. You explained so nicely, Prabhuji, and also answer to the Premanandini Mataji and Uri Mataji's question. And I would like to announce that from next Sunday, Prabhuji, we are reading Prabhupada Lilamrut. And but whenever you are available, like from next Sunday or to next Sunday, whenever you
Okay.
are available, we can complete this, because we would like to hear from you only, because you have that continuity and everything. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And where is the Radhesham Prabhu's retreat, Prabhuji?
It's going to be in New York actually.
Yeah,
So
okay. Okay.
Prabhuji is coming here, so we are going to have a
Mhm.
retreat for the youths.
Okay, very nice. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Anybody
Hare
has any
Krishna.
question or comment? Um,
Okay.
yeah. Aarti Mataji said, thanks for the questions. Those were some on my mind too. So thank you, Aarti Mataji. And you, Prabhuji, you explain her questions, answers to Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji and Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, this is Arti Sardesai. I just remembered one thing that Vikas Prabhuji once, I had a question regarding some of the questions that were asked by the two Matajis. How, some people act differently and they are not very disciplined and all that. So my husband, sometimes when I used to drive and I used to find some drivers that are not following the rules, I used to like, what is this going on? So, and some things that people should not be doing that I used to observe, my husband used to say, stop Karening, stop being a Karen for everything. And then Vikas Prabhuji once said, I had this question about this person not following the rules, like one of my assistants, and the third party was getting affected because of it. And the third party, because of her actions, was suffering. So I asked this question, but I am trying to do the right thing and I feel really badly and it's not in my hands. What do I do? How should I react? And he said, like God has a path, and you try not to be the character. You're only an actor in this process. And lo and behold, something happened to her, and that person left because there were too many wrong things that the person was doing, which was harming the third party. So I think that was a very good lesson that I also thought was, some of the words like today, for example, from your lessons that I took away was the tyag and the sannyas, those were really good points that you explained and that will stick in my mind. And some of the words that some of the Prabhujis and the Matajis say, that it's like, aha, that is the moment. Like some of the situations that we find in our lives, we don't have an answer to them right away, but there are certain words and certain explanations that you all give that stick in our minds. And we don't, like, for example, we don't just read books, but we take what is our own interpretation and some of the learnings that, say, I learned from you, as well as some of the other classes that I take from the temples, the ISKCON temples. And you put everything together and then just wake up in the morning and just pray to the Lord. Nothing is in my hand, and whatever happens the next moment is Krishna's will, and show me the right way, show me the path to you. So we are taking all those good things that you teach us, and I feel that each and every class that I take, I feel there are certain sections that I pick and choose, and certain words and certain phrases that help us in the process. And I'm a neophyte, so I'm not like but I try to do, like, first thing in the even if I wake up in the morning in the middle of the night, I start with Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is, it's to me, it is not just the 16 rounds or whatever rounds. It's just throughout the day. If I do it at all times, I am remembering the Lord. And the only thing is, like you said, it's not the result of whatever we do. It's just, God, show me the way to you. God, show me the right way to you. So that was the thing that I just wanted to mention. And thank you for the class, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful realizations and comments. Very grateful to you. Everyone is a neophyte. We are also still practicing. There are different levels, but everyone is a neophyte, and you're getting addicted to chanting Hare Krishna in the night. That's so wonderful. We hope and pray that we also get addicted to chanting Hare Krishna in the night also. So you are much more progressing in the path of bhakti in that way. Hare Krishna. And thank you for learning so many beautiful lessons. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I think,
Yes,
yeah.
Prabhu. So let's pray blessings to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarvyasya kripa sindhuvya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, नमस्कार
जय
आत्मा की जय,
Jai,
ग्रंथ
Jai,
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, भगवत
Jai,
गीता की जय,
Jai,
इस श्री गोपाल प्राण प्रभु की जय,
Jai.
all gracious somebody devotees, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
for wonderful lectures
Thank
today
you,
Thank you,
morning.
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Bol,
Hare Bol,
Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.